Everybody. Welcome. Emma Howitt here, Pure Abodes. We're really excited. We're a little bit earlier today because we've got fantastic Guillaume here, who is from Property Filter. If you haven't heard of Property Filter yet, where have you been? It is the best, the most awesome platform for helping you find motivated vendors, motivated sellers, whatever you'd like to call it. But not only that, it has loads and loads of other really great things. And anyway, Guillaume has got to pop off a bit later, so we thought we would just run this a little bit earlier. So hopefully that will be great. But this will also be obviously stored across all of our socials. I feel pretty cool when I say something like that. I feel a bit down with the kids when I say socials, but especially on YouTube. So please do subscribe if you haven't already, to ensure that every time we do go live, you get to hear from us. So let's jump straight in. So Guillaume, if you could just do, if anyone doesn't know you or hasn't heard of you or Property Filter, which must be impossible if they're in property, then please do just give a brief intro, please.
Hi Emma, thanks a lot for having me. So I'm Guillaume Black, CEO of Property Filter, but I'm mostly known for being every investor's favorite Frenchman since we've been sharing the Property Filter methodology and software. Basically we've built this for ourselves a few years ago. We did quite well from it, got some awards. Property Investor of the Year, Deal of the Year in 2021, 2022. And then so much so that what was our little secret, we've bent on the the request of our property friends to let them in on having a go at Property Filter a few years ago, which we didn't anticipate it would be a product or a service we shared with others. And then they started to do quite well from it, and all of a sudden they asked us, "Oh, could you do this? Could you build that? Could you add to this?" And then we're like, "Well, not really. I mean, this is our little secret tool, you know." And we're like, "Oh yeah, we'll pay you." You know, it's like, "What do you mean?" Like, "Oh, we'll pay you," you know. And then all of a sudden we realized that we were accidental tech entrepreneurs, you know, and we got a lot of feedback on board. And we went on and built what people really cared about, what they really needed, and what really made things move the needle. So, and then ultimately, the background and how it works is it's all about creating an unlimited deal flow of motivated sellers, and it's built in a way that it gives you the best ROI on your time and money in terms of marketing budget, marketing channels. So people don't realize, but there is a cost to finding deals. And the cost can be your time, your life, the cost of not finding deals, like spending all your time, but also the actual cost of the marketing. And it's very easy to, people go to like educations and course, they put the money into the course, but they don't realize that it's just the start, then, the deals don't come magically. So there's a cost. And we realized there was a cost when we were finding our own deals. And then the idea is we made this cost as efficient and lean as possible. And so this is how, using the software, people basically, you do 10 times fewer viewings, but you've got 10 times more engagement, or you speak to 10 times more motivated sellers, or you send 10 times fewer letters, but you get 10 times more quality leads. That's kind of the ratio. So, it works really, really well. So, it's all about getting straight to the motivated sellers, and it's all about doing deals, in a way. It's although we're talking about software, it's not really software, it really is more than anything else, it's a methodology. So it's a methodology about finding deals, and it's a methodology, an investment methodology, if you like, automated by software. And so it's why we are in a bit of a category of none, of no others. Quite we don't really have competitors, in the sense that people come to us for deals. If you want to, who wants to be looking at data all day long when you could be looking at deals? And then we're really, really proud of our members. We've grown a community of 1,200 of the most active deal finders, and there are people actually doing deals right now. And it's really, 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 really cool to see people do quite well. Rather it's we get phone calls, every week, if not every day, because they've done their first deal, their third deal, or their 30th deals, like some. And then there's all the deals we don't know about. Every time I turn up to a meeting, they say, "Oh, Guillaume, I told you I did 16 deals until last June. Where I did 26 the whole of 2023. It's like, oh wow, what happened? Did you slow down at the end of the year? And it's like, oh well, Christmas. I took December off. It's like, okay, fair enough.
I love
26
it.
deals. That's good for me.
Wow. Well, I do find it really tremendous what you've achieved, and it's so lovely, isn't it, to hear something that was of use to you has now escalated, and definitely, those that have been in property for a little while can't help but have heard of Property Filter. All the kind of big boys and the small boys and girls, offering mentoring or coaching or property training are all jumping on board and offering, Guillaume's products as well, because it is just so strong. And yeah, absolutely, as you say, it is this time investment. And what people tend to do, don't they, is everyone's interested in property, and everyone goes, oh, I've jumped on Rightmove, I saw this one, I saw that one, but they don't understand the backstory. They don't understand what is behind that one property and what is perhaps that history or not history. And having that detail, which is what you have in Property Filter, is just so incredibly important. And then on top of that, it's drilling down right to the core, right to the next door neighbor property. If that was sold a few months ago, it has absolutely everything. I mean, it really is a testament to you. And I think even more importantly than that, Guillaume, is exactly as you say, you completely listen, and your kind of bot has on the website has a person or people behind it that can help.
You actually speak to people on the chat. There's no bot. Yeah,
exactly. So it goes to somebody, so you can so quite very, when I first started, I found a couple of sort of slight anomalies, and I'd be like, oh, this has happened here, and it's like, boom, that's been changed, updated. It's always listening. And I think that's I'm reading at the moment the Algorithmic Leader. I don't know if you've read that, Guillaume.
What's that again?
It's called the Algorithmic Leader.
All right, I've never been told that before.
No, it's a book.
I know.
Yeah, so it's a really useful one. I think it'd be good for you, but it is all about understanding that kind of artificial intelligence, understanding where humans lie, where we lie. But what it is it's constantly updating. We can't just start something and then think, oh, this is it forever. As we know, things change so much. And that's what I think is really impressive with you guys, is you're constantly listening to the needs of the client and then updating and going in there. I know every time I go in, it's like, oh, there's something else, there's this, but it's beneficial. It's not like, oh, there's now too many things, I'm totally overwhelmed. The use of it is really great. So yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, we've put £500,000 into the product last year, and we've just, as a startup, we've just raised a lot of money, and we've got £1 million roadmap, to invest in the product in 2024. So there's lots of cool stuff coming, and all of it is based on members' insight, so people's feedback, the way people ask questions. And we do our best to listen, because at the end of the day, we can have our own assumptions, we can have our own experience of being property investors, and developing our HMOs and stuff, buying our below market value flats and things. But it's nothing compared to the power of having like 1,200 people on the ground, and speaking with vendor agents all the time. So the amount of as I said to the team, like the biggest lesson we've learned, so it's not the biggest capital we've earned is not what we've earned, is what we've learned, and then we know so much more now than we knew a year ago, and every year, because of the way we engage and we listen, that we know everything we need to. We know more what we need to do, what people really care about, and we can build it now. So you can only build the right thing if you know what it is. And so it's the biggest capital we've earned last year was what we've learned, from our members and the really the participation of the Property Filter members, our deal finders.
Amazing. Okay, so I want to jump straight in because I really want to make this as valuable as we possibly can. So guys, do please ask any questions. This is live. So if you've got any questions, do pop them in the chat and we'll do our best to answer those. But one of the things I wanted to jump into, which I find to be kind of one of the most important things alongside mindset, is the area. Some people call it gold mine area. As we've discussed, Guillaume, and I think most people know, I've written a book now. I've just got to get it published, all about finding your gold mine area for serviced accommodation. Now, obviously, each different strategy is potentially going to be a little bit different. But the one thing that blew me away on top of everything else with Property Filter was the detail of information that you can source and check and compare and understand in the back of Property Filter. Because what tends to happen, and I think you'll agree with this, Guillaume, is people, as I say, go on Rightmove, they see a property and they might go, oh, I think that looks interesting. And then they try and make that property fit to something. You know, they try and make it fit maybe below market value. They try and make it fit, that it will make a 3-bed property, or they try and make it fit for whatever. And inherently, that might not work. And so what is key and really important, and I bang on about this so much, is if you've got the right area that has the right needs and the right demands, and then you go and find a property that answers the demand of that person. So let's say it's, people needing HMO rooms, and then you can go and find an HMO property. It might be, a 2-3 bed property for serviced accommodation. So again, you can go and find that. Or it may be a property that is 5 bedrooms is for serviced accommodation. And that seems to be the real, the real one that's underutilized, but people are desperate to get those size properties. Again, you can specifically, knowing that you've got the demand, and that is what's so key, is having that demand first and then moving through to get the properties, so to speak. So I wonder, Guillaume, are we able to sort of jump straight on? Let's hope that this works.
Yeah.
Can you share your screen? Let's see if we can make that work.
Yeah, I'm sure Property Filter works. No problem. I don't know. Is this sharing thing working?
Oh, yeah. Here we go. I have to allow it.
Okay, cool. I've made it nice and fat.
Okay, so from what you're seeing, can you see that? Or I'm wondering whether I can make it.
It seems quite tiny. There we go. Yeah.
Is that a bit better? Can you see that?
Maybe. Yeah. I can see my screen. I don't know how big it is on the thing, but wow, that's quite interesting.
Too much?
Yeah, too much, I think. Yeah. Yeah, keep it full screen, like it's all right. Yeah.
Which one? That one?
Yeah, like this is good. I guess. I'm just curious. Is this like, will people see it? Oh, I guess everybody's on their phone now anyway, so it doesn't matter. So
yeah,
cool. So just the premises of this is, property is a people business and it's a numbers game. So you want to go straight to the motivated sellers, and then the deals are in the follow up. So all Property Filter has been built on these principles. So you've got your lead generator over here, where you set and forget your criteria. You can find, it works for every strategy. We're looking for potential properties that sit outside an Article 4 area. You can turn into HMOs. That's one of them. You could look for properties that are in potential negative equity, for sale for less than what they last sold, or for sale as well as to rent if you want to do lease options. It just works for lots and lots of all strategies, basically. Anything that's got walls, so we're not going to be the best solution for land sourcing and things like that, but anything property investing and commercial, resi, it will work. And the idea is you got all those available properties, but amongst what's available, you want to go straight to those where the sales, where they are the most motivated. And so it's why we've got this motivated seller banner over here in your leads inbox inside your lead generator. And remember, you set and forget those criteria, and the bots, the machines, will just work every day. They go everywhere on the internet. It's the equivalent of having the Rightmove, Zoopla on the market, prime location, and you name it. All name something. Chances are it's pulling things from. And then from here, it's where you want to identify, the ones that are going to be the most motivated. So it's an example where not only is this listed with this one agent since more than 1 year. Prior to that, it was also listed with other agents that failed to sell the property, and we know they lost the instruction, so it's no longer on Rightmove or anywhere. But you've got all this history of the previous agents, failing to sell the property, so you can go and speak to them, etc. The big thing that people like Property Filter for is this price and status history, and this is where you identify, the motivation, the sign of motivation, where the blue line is the price history, and then the background is the availability, where you see it's available, then it's sold subject to contract, available again. So, and then you match this with the history of the different agents prior to that, and you've got all the history there. And then people really like as well is that we find most of the full address of properties. So I know we've built a scale, and some of us have even built teams of people, like dropping the yellow Google Man on Google Street View, and figure out the bin numbers, doorbell number. And the reality is, nobody's got time for that. So we find most of the full address. So it depends on the postcodes, but it's anything between 70 and 85% of the full address, and that's included flats as well. So for example, in this case here, you've got the flat full address, the square from the full address, the square meterage, what they last paid for it, and you see here's a property over here where they're struggling to sell at a loss. They bought it for 75,000 3 years ago, and now they're struggling to sell it at 65. Could they be motivated? And then this is how we see more and more people do lease option creative strategies, and etc. etc. Pulls your comparables on what are other asking price in the area, asking rent, and then tells you what is the yield of this postcode for this type of property, and then what will then therefore be the yield of your property if you buy it and buy it at asking price and rent it at comparable rent. So lots and lots of stuff, and gives you the Article 4 areas. If you are into HMOs, you want to again look for properties, existing HMOs inside an Article 4 area, or you want to avoid an Article 4 area, you can use it as a filter. And we've digitalized all the Article 4 areas of the country like this. And then, again, you can use it as a filter. This is how I've got one of my properties. Basically, the garden touches the boundary of an Article 4 area, and it's a very, very lucrative 7-bed HMO now. So there's no way I could have found this and many other deals, without that stuff. So that's kind of the premises of finding the motivated sellers. There's the whole thing with deal calculators. There's the whole thing with the pipeline, where you're going to do your follow-ups and all that. But you were asking me about the market data and the goldmine area, and really this is where we pull all of this together, and you can look at things like the demand. So this is all of England. So I've removed London, not from this sample, but you can do whatever you want. You've got all the different regions, and then this is how we look at like time on the market for sale, time on the market to rent. These are really good.
Sorry, Guillaume, can we just try it like that for a sec and just see if that works? Because it's...
What have I done? Sorry, look.
Just want to make it bigger.
Yeah, sorry, I've done something stupid.
So there you go. Perfect. If you can then move it around, and then we can see. So for everyone, where is this? Where do they find this in the side?
Sorry, yeah. So in your market data over here.
So just really cool... you have to see what we can see on the screen, Guillaume.
Sorry. All right. Sorry. So on the blue menu on the left, you've got different menu tabs, and you've got this thing which is this market data, and then you click on this market live map. And the idea here is you can load one region at a time or multiple regions at a time, and you can look for different property types for their yield, the type, typical price, typical rent, the time on the market for sale, time on the market to rent, and how long are they voids or things like that. And the idea, so on the right of this, Emma, I don't know if you can unzoom just for a sec. On the right of this, you've got this distribution of all those yields, or all those, if you like, all those time for sale, etc. You can see that, for example, the best yielding postcode currently is DL4. It's followed by CA25, etc., etc. So you can see them on this distribution over here, and then you can play around as well, with these. You can zoom on the map, and you can see that you've got 9% in B7, 6.6 in B9, and you can see postcode by postcode where you're gonna have your best yield, and you can do the same with the demand. So what's interesting is looking at the time on the market to rent, and the quicker something rents, it's a predecessor indicator, if you like. That so the principles here are that yields tend to be quite stable, and demand affects prices. So the quickest turnaround you'll have is in the main will be with rentals. So when something rents, it rents in 2 weeks. And then the contracts, letting agreements, etc. Things can be arranged fairly quickly. So when something rents really quickly, the agents will just put the price slightly higher for the next one, and then slightly higher for the next one. And then this is how, in the last 2 years, we had I've had properties where the rent's gone up 30% in just 18 months on some rooms, because the demand, and we just put 50 quid up, 50 quid up, 50 quid up every time we had a new tenancy. And then that's what everybody do. That's what every letting agents do. And then the property price tend to follow the rent increase, because the yields tend to stabilize. People get into property because they want a 7% yield, they want an 8% yield, and therefore when the rent increases, the property price tend to follow. So when you see that there is a really strong demand in terms of time on the market to rent being short, it's an indicator that the rents will go up, and it's an indicator that 3 months, 4, 5 months, 6 months later, your property price will go up, on average, and you need to look at it property type by property type. You can display all of this with, I think this is a mix of 1 to 3 bed properties, houses and flats, but you can do whatever filter you want on this, and you'll find that there's certain property type that have got more demand than others, and etc., etc. So that's really how you want to look at this, is looking at your rental demand as an indicator, and then you can check this with your asking price, for sale demand, how quick things tend to sell, and the quicker things tend to sell, the agents are putting the price slightly upper or slightly lower, etc. But so that's kind of the idea with this goldmine area. There's a few menus on the top. You can do a few other stuff, but basically looking at this is looking at all asking price and asking rents. Then you've got your last sold map over here, which is looking at all every confirmed transactions, etc., etc. So there's quite a few things you can do, but the premises with this is that the data will give you the average performance of an area, but you want to buy above performing assets. Like nobody wants an average asset. So if we just wanted average stuff, we just go on to Rightmove and buy the first property on the list, at the asking price, which we don't. We want to buy things with equity on day one. We want to add things where we can add value. And the truth is, we buy from motivated sellers. So within those pockets of areas we identify where we can see there is potential, the way we buy above performing assets is again what I've shown you just earlier in these, is looking for those motivated sellers, those where multiple agents are involved, where sales fallen through, and things like that. So that's kind of the idea here. And so that's kind of, Emma, I don't know how much details you want to go into this. There's lots of things we could be talking about, but also I don't want to bore people to death with showing some software and stuff. So I don't know how much of it you want.
There's no boring. So yeah, it would be great, like exactly as you said, with that kind of overview in the I can't remember what it's called, but in the blue box to the side when we're looking at market data.
Yeah.
You also, so these points for me are absolutely, critical If you could just move it over so we could just see your bit there. Can you see that?
Yeah, can I move the screen? I don't know how it works.
Yeah.
Or can you move my screen? Maybe, I don't know.
I don't think I can move your screen. Can you move mine? Or maybe we'll just go back out again.
Yeah, not sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously it's kind of looking at all of those other bits. So you've looked at, the top line data. So maybe we could now sort of go further down. So let's say, somebody lives, I don't know, in and around Bradford or something. Do they want to then see, they've then kind of looked at that area. They've also got to take into consideration potentially where they live. Some people are happy to, travel 5 hours. Personally, I'm not. That just seems a complete waste of my time.
Yeah.
But, so, it's not just this data, is it? It's also human data. So it may be that, people want to be, investing near to them. And just because their yield is 0.2% out does not mean that it's not a fantastic area.
Yeah. And also, Emma, I think the main thing I'd like to share is like the data is nice and good, but you want to beat the data, so if you say, oh, I want to invest here because it's 0.2% higher than near me, like there will be motivated seller near you where you'll have the outlier in the data. You can, if you buy something 20% below what it's worth, like it doesn't really matter where you buy it, in a way. So there will be, the data is nice and good as a benchmark to start with, more, I would say, more to exclude certain area rather than to say, I'll absolutely go, I absolutely have to go like really far to do my things. It's exactly as you said, like sometimes if the data will tell you it's 0.5, 0.2% difference or something like that, it's a bit irrelevant because you'll find the motivated sellers in your area, which is a lot easier to manage. I work on this thing where I want my portfolio to be close together. Like this, I have one agent to do all my lettings. I have one team of on-demand and maintenance people. I can get them to do stuff. All of a sudden, if I've got one property in every town, I need 10 times more systems, and trades and people, and it's just it becomes really unpractical, So yeah, you need to take these things into consideration as well.
Exactly. It's economies of scale, isn't it? I mean, my initial business was, 6 apartments in one block. I mean, you couldn't get much more efficient. And it used to really annoy me when I had properties, 5-minute drive away, because in my chaos at that time, I'd forget the loo roll or I'd forget this. And it was just so annoying. And then I'd get caught in, traffic. And then suddenly what should be a very simple job transpires to be very challenging. So yeah, that's something that I always talk about to people, is be really sure what your goal is. What is it? Are you doing property to become a property, to become a property taxi driver? Or are you actually out there wanting to generate your own luck? Now, obviously, some people are really successful investing far away from home, and I'm not disputing that. And there are occasions where I think it's really valuable. But also at the same time, if you're trying to, especially when you're starting out, and especially if you don't have a huge amount of funds behind you, you need to generate your own luck. And that generally means, networking. I mean, I've picked up not most, that's a lie, but I've picked up a lot of deals just by being on the ground and people saying, oh, that looks good. What are you doing? And then suddenly you've got deals being sent your way. You've got landlords saying, oh, I'd really like my property to go into that. Whereas if you rock up, and you've driven 5 hours, you arrive, you're exhausted, and the agent cancels the viewing or something. I mean, that's just really annoying. And then you want to go and, attend one networking event, but you can't really follow up for a cup of coffee the next day or whatever. It can work in both, but for me, it's kind of looking at the path of least resistance. If it's going to be easier for you to get it done locally, great. If you have a great method of doing it far away, you've got great power teams, it's all in place, then again that can work for you. But I think it's definitely about being open, isn't it? So yeah. So yeah, should we jump into just that bit more into a closer area, perhaps look at Article 4, those kind of things.
Oh, you want to see more of the software? Okay, cool.
Yeah. It's not that you're not a beautiful face, Guillaume, but
No, it's good.
hold on.
Yeah, so basically I just went to more of a regional view, so I've got it's a bit more manageable. Do you want to keep just the full screen just a sec?
Yeah, of course.
I just went in the sort of West Midlands central region here, and then what's cool is you can see like the best yielding postcode is B12, ST1, and then followed by B6, ST3, ST4, etc. And you can go down the list, like this by hovering over there, and you see like pretty much everything. And this is updated every week, so it changed a little bit. It's interesting to see what sort of things are changing. I personally.
In fact, we've had a question, Guillaume. Can you just let us know, where does the data come from? So all this data, presumably it's obviously factual data. Where is it all coming from? So you've talked about having it updated weekly here.
Yeah. So it's the equivalent of having all of the portals in one place. So it's the equivalent of having the Rightmove, the Zoopla, the On the Market, Prime Location, all these places. All fit into one place. And then this is just one aspect. Then there's lots of land registry data, EPC databases, and I think there's like 50 different sources that we look at, and then we just agglomerate it all into one place. We verify the address with different methods and things like that. So yeah, I mean that's all property related data you can think of. We sort of touch it, in one way or another. Yeah.
Amazing. And we have Eugene from Papua New Guinea listening in. It's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so international.
Actually, that's a really good point. So people think they can't invest in the UK from abroad and things like that because the way people do is the status quo is that you randomly scroll through the portals, then you randomly book viewings based on the pictures, the layout, because you like something, and you turn up at the viewing, and then nobody wants to do a deal. That's the reality of most people, and to be successful, you need to do this at scale. You need to do this 5 times, 10 times, 20 times a week, and then you'll get lucky, maybe once, and then this sort of random netcasting is prohibitive if you are out of area or if you live abroad. And abroad could be as close as living in London and investing in the north, for example, for some people, because you have to do all this, all this mileage, and it really is prohibitive to go and waste your time viewing after viewing, speaking to vendors who don't want to do deals. And so, in contrast, the idea here is that because we filter down by degree of motivation, you go straight to the motivated sellers. Therefore, you do 10 times fewer viewings, you send 10 times fewer letters, but you get 10 times more engagement, or you get 10 times better quality conversations, if you like. And so it allowed and empowered people who are overseas to actually, because there's a direct cost. Most people don't respect their own time to go on a viewing. But then they respect their own quids, when they have to pay 30 quid to send someone for a viewing. So all of a sudden, although their time is probably more valuable than 30 quid a viewing, it eats them a lot harder somehow, and then they want to do less viewings, and they want to be more strategic with the viewings, because there is a direct cost to do the viewings. And so we find obviously investors or people in London actually investing out of area, where they use a service like a Viewer, or they've got a local agents doing them favors or to go on viewings for them, and there's a cost. This allows them to be a lot more strategic and spend a lot less on these lead generation and finding the deals in the first place. And so if you're in London investing out of area, if you are generally speaking overseas and you are relying on other people to do certain things for you, that's exactly that works. It's exactly why it works. And then sadly, because people don't respect their own time as much as they respect, if they had to pay themselves 30 quid per viewing, they might react differently. So it takes people to value their own time, have some respect for their own time, really, and then and then they this becomes a really no-brainer, so that's kind of how it works on that front.
Absolutely, I love it. Right, let's jump back into the data, Guillaume. I'm gonna
Yeah, what you
you.
want to see?
Okay, yeah. So basically, from here, things like Article 4, just
Oh yeah. Okay,
all
yeah,
of
cool.
those
Yeah,
kind of beautiful things that you have in here.
yeah, cool. Yeah, so the Article 4 here is a visualization of all the Article 4 in the country that we sort of digitalized. But what's really cool is not so much. It's nice and good to see them on the map, but what's even nicer is when you create a lead generator, when you create those search that are saved, you could say you can filter to say show me properties inside the Article 4 area or outside the Article 4 area. So this is a visualization, which again nice and cool. But the real power is when you stop when you stop seeing properties that are irrelevant. So that's more into the lead generator over here. And if I take this example here, which is, for example, we're looking for potential properties that can be converted into HMOs in and around Leeds, and one of the criteria is outside the Article 4 area. So if I go and look at the results for these properties. So let me see everything that's available. I can turn into the map, and I think I might not have the right. I will have a look. Let me have a look. I might not have put the filter on this one. Let's see. Sorry, so I'm just loading the article for area, oh yeah, no, it's okay. So you see how I had this wide area of search here, and I say exclude the article for area, and it nicely went, just around, and it's how you get properties like this one, which are really close to the boundary within a kink over here, and then these might be, 120 square meter, 150, like 100. I mean, this is great, So, let me go back to this. 120 square meters, 1,200 pound per square meter. So I don't know the area. It might be the very wrong area for HMOs, but this is right at the edge of the article for area in terms of the property style and size. That would work really well. So could be that this is an old HMO as well. Where is it? I know it's owned by owner occupier, so we know all sorts of information like this, which is quite interesting. And then in these
So
120
sorry,
square
Guillaume,
meters.
then did you just go on a property that was you found the property via the Article 4 map and you've just clicked on it, have you? Is that what you've just done?
Yeah. What I've done is I created a lead generator earlier. I showed this to Matt. So Matt Baker used it yesterday for his HMO challenge. He
Yeah.
was looking for properties that are suitable for HMO conversions that sit outside the Article 4 area. And
Yeah.
I've just gone into this lead generator. We are in the leads inbox here, where you normally get the list of all the properties.
Yeah.
And I just went to show you the map layout, and just to show you that the system excluded all properties that sit inside the Article 4 area. So that's kind of it. And then I just went to see one that was really near to the boundary, this one,
Yeah.
and then I just randomly went to have a look at this one, and then quite interestingly, it seemed like it would be suitable, to turn this into a certainly a 5-bed HMO, and it's well priced. I just don't know the area there, so it might be for some of you guys in Leeds. You don't want to touch this area, and there's a good reason why this is so cheap. I don't know, but that's how I would go and use the Article 4 area thing. Again, it's nice and good to see it on the map, and it's impressive, but as I said before, like, who wants to be looking at data when you could be looking at deals? And the way Property Filter works, although we're talking software, it really isn't. We're not really talking about software. We're talking about a methodology to find deals. So this is how you go straight to something that sits. You don't pollute your time and with all those properties that are inside the Article 4 area, and then you go on the PDF, like red marked document from the council where um, you've tried to figure out if you are in or out of the Article 4 area. It's just all built into this, and it's one of like 15 things that are built into this in this way, integrated there, so you don't have to do to have your 15 tabs open and etc.
So, I mean, that's just so powerful, isn't it? Having that level where you can absolutely go down. I mean, can you, if, for instance, you have a property that isn't up for sale, can you put that into property data? So, for instance, let's say you've got you've got a road, and you can see that it's ripe for HMO conversions, that particular road.
Yeah. Do you wanna just pull the zoom out so I will show you where this is?
Absolutely.
And the use case with this, so if you go into the market data again here, and there's something here called the address lookup, and this is where you might go. I don't know. I just put a random postcode. So let's say, for example, you are putting direct to vendor letters in derelict properties, and then the phone rings, and you're putting 10 a week, and then the phone rings, and somebody goes, hey, it's me, I got your letter. I say, all right, could you remind me your postcode, please? Da-da-da. In the address lookup, I put the postcode, and could you remind me your house number, please? And they go, oh, it's number 4C. Okay, great. So now I've been on the phone 10 seconds with that person, and I know that it's a terrace property. It's 107 square meters. It was built recently between 96 and 2002. It's an EPCD, potential C. Comparables in the area, the postcode yield is 5.95. Comparables in the area are that properties, this type of property, are typically for sale for 193. Typical rent is 960. It takes quite a while to sell, so 105 and a bit months, and then the rental demand, it takes 2 months to rent basically. So that's kind of I know that they won't get an offer between 4 months. Within 4 months, basically, if they put this on the market. And if he tells me he wants 250 for it, I can tell him that we'll have to think about it, because it seems, like other comparables property have gone for less. And also, although he bought this he bought this recently, but could be one where he bought it 20 years ago, 15 years ago. We'll know this kind of stuff. So you've been on the phone with that person 20 seconds, and you know pretty much everything about them. And if this was owned by a company, you'll have a link to company's house. If this was a flat, you'll know what would be the lease length and etc. And you see on the right here, you'll have like comparables of previously sold and previously let properties, etc. So you've got some good ideas. So if you want to pursue this, you can then add this property to your pipeline, and then you work on it. You'll be able to add some more criteria and other things, and you can work on it together with all your other properties that come from all your different channels in your pipeline over here. And the aim of the game with your pipeline is to convert all these good leads you created into deals. So every step of the pipeline is an action to take, and ultimately the deals are in the follow-up. So all of this is built in one place. Everything updates on its own. So if you're like me, you might have what I used to have, which was this horrible property spreadsheet where you copy paste Rightmove links into the spreadsheet, and then every so often you need to open the link every 2-3 days to make sure things have not changed, and etc. Then you realize you can't be doing this yourself. You're lying to yourself. You're confusing activity and progress. So you think, oh, I should pay a VA maybe to help me out with this. And then you pay someone £300 a month, £400 a month just to update the spreadsheet. Well, all of this, and then by the time it's done, it's already out of date. I'm describing a situation I lived, for like 18 months, so I know far too well, and so it's why we built this. So it's reduced by that much. This came back on the market 5 days ago. They pushed it to an auction 5 days ago, and they dropped the price by 50%, etc., etc. So all of this is live, with the market. Something sold 8 days ago. You'll have the ones that this was withdrawn a month ago. So all of these are properties where if you save the Rightmove link in your Trello board, excuse me, in a Trello board or a spreadsheet, you click on it and it's just dead. It's just gone. And in contrast with this, you'll always see the property here, and then you might speak to the agent and they'll tell you, oh yeah, we don't want to sell anymore. No, they don't want to sell anymore. Okay, that's interesting. They don't want to sell anymore with you. I can see here that it's a rented property, so I've got the full address over here. I could go, really worth my while to buy the title, send these guys a letter, and then it just works really well. This is the true direct to vendor. There's a trace of them being on the market. They've been frustrated by the reality of the market. They can't do what they want to do. They can't sell, or they can't solve their property problem. The agents have been in the way all along, preventing discussions around creative strategy. And now you go straight to the vendor, and then you can do your creative deals. Your delayed completion, your lease options, etc., etc. So yeah, that works quite well.
Amazing. And again, what's so incredible, just to re-clarify that when you're looking at that map, you can actually overlay it with the HMO Article 4 area. So if you were a bit uncertain, let's say that road, the Article 4 was slap bang down the middle, and you'd put how letters into each one. When they call you up and you type in that number, that postcode, you'll be actually able to see that as well, whether it's in or out of the Article 4 area as well. So it really is very, very powerful. So just another one going into the market data. So I know we've now looked up Address Lookup, you've looked at the Market Live map. I'd really and planning constraints, that would be where you looked up the Article 4.
Yep.
So it would be great just to have a quick look at the sort of the last sold map and then the census in the last sort of 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So the idea with the last sold is you drill down on one area where you look at actually what transactions have been happening, what level of sales, where within a postcode, and then you break down a postcode between a postcode district, and then you break down a postcode district within postcode sectors, and it's very much you understanding like which road attract more value than another. So for example, over here you'll be able to see all of these past transactions, and you'll have a price
different colors just for everyone here.
Yeah, so it's why you need the stuff on the right, Emma. That's okay.
I'm just trying to go in and go out. Go on then. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it's just kind of a heat map kind of key where the greener will be the kind of the cheaper, and the red the more expensive, and etc. So you'll have this will show you the whole price per surface area, price per square meter in my case, but you can put the whole website in square foot. So it's like, where is it that it's going to be more expensive, etc. Or you can turn the whole thing around looking at price. So you got different keys here basically. So around type of houses and how expensive they are. And so you see that in this postcode, the distribution is more towards the middle over here, 270, 280. And then you got the outliers, which are more like 460, etc. So you can clearly see your more expensive area is around those houses here, and then your cheaper areas are here, etc. So it kind of help you, educate yourself on when you look at a postcode, where is it that it's nicer and not as nice, and also within your postcode districts, you can very, very clearly see where is it that there are the largest properties. So for example, if you are into HMOs, the average of properties size are bigger in that portion of the postcode than on that one over here. So average property size here is 105 square meter. Average property size over here is sort of 65. So there's lots of smaller properties, but it's just like a bit of a benchmark. And then you can see that on average, the properties over here are going to be more expensive than this one. So it just gives you a good a good idea. Looking at all transactions in the last couple of years. So this is looking at 2022, 2023, and 2024. I believe you can filter and change things if you like. But that's kind of the idea. So in contrast with the live market data, where we were looking at all the current asking prices, asking rents, which is live, which is right now. The last sold is looking at the past, and is looking at within the postcode you've identified. When you want to really drill down, understand the dynamics of one portion of your postcode versus another, etc. You can see all of these things here. So that's really how you'd go into it. I'd say you want to look at this, once or twice to understand your area a bit more. But then don't, it's not something you'd want to look at every day. You want to study things like this for 1 hour, and then decide, decide, and then go out and start to do your viewings. Go out and send the letters, and then speak with motivated sellers. That's kind of the idea.
I mean, what for me this does is, so many people are, people talk about, go and walk the area, walk down these streets. But when you're very first starting, it can be so utterly overwhelming knowing exactly what you're looking for, where it's going. But here you just drill down into plain facts. And it just makes it much easier. So, even knowing the average size of properties and all of those kind of things, it really is tremendous, and seeing how quickly things move. So again, any kind of negotiation, if they're sort of saying, oh, it's going to move quick, you can kind of go, well,
yeah,
unlikely here. And inherently what you have in these scenarios is you have more information, or more information that they use than estate agents. So estate agents have access to a lot of information, but they don't use it. They don't drill down. They're not that bothered always. Obviously, it's not for every single one, but quite a lot of them don't bother. Whereas you go armed with all this extra information and so much knowledge. And if you're, meeting with a vendor or meeting with the agent, if you then don't understand something or can't remember, you can go back and really clarify with this, going into here. So it's, I just think it's really, really tremendous. So that was really useful. And so the census data as well. Do you mind popping in?
So again, so that's even more granular. So it's when you want to go, like even drilling more down to an area. So like, for example, you could look at things in housing. There's something here that they call the tenure of a household, and this will look for you at properties where you've got social housing or rented area. So which blocks of areas are rented, which blocks are owned by owner occupier and owned outright, etc. And this is where you can identify. So when you've got a refer project, your two exits are basically BRR, you keep it for yourself, or flips. And I've seen people do flips in wrong areas because it's very cheap, but your exit market are only investors basically. And what you want with a flip is you want the nice couple, with the baby carrier viewing your property to fall in love with whatever, that's really the technique. And the way it works is that mainly they'll be attracted in areas where other people own their property because it will be better kept, etc., etc. And then in terms of having the numbers to stack, it's a lot harder to have a BRR rented property that stacks in a primarily residential areas. In the main, obviously things can always work everywhere, with some degree of exceptions. But you can see, like, if I look at Birmingham here, I'm looking at where is it that it's rented, and I can see that the 60% of properties are on these areas over here. So I'm going to move it like this, you can see. So if I move myself, can I move myself now? Yeah, you can't see the bar at the bottom with the percentage, can you? Because there's my head in the way.
I'll go back. I just wanted to see if I could fit you in.
Yeah, sorry. So like you can see, I've got 80 in this 80% of this small area over here is rented. So it's not really going to be a place you want to do flips. 60%. So this is just helping me assess. Will I be able to flip this, or is it better flip this to a residential buyer, or am I better off, is this one for a BRR strategy? So, and then if I move to some like nicer part of town, for example, here where primarily, like there's only 17% of renters, so where is it that people own outright, own with a mortgage? So yeah, 40% here is owned with a mortgage, and there's an additional 40 that is owned outright. So like this is going to be an area which is going to be very attractive for families and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just in your holding or selling strategy, your best exit in terms of selling a property will be to a residential buyer who will buy for other reasons than just comparables and the numbers, if you do it really nice. But also you need to have this in the right area. So that's one thing I would look at, which is quite interesting. Something else you can look at, so you have things around population. So there is this metrics around household deprivation. So there's a definition here of deprivation in education, employment, health, housing, etc. And we've got different sort of different scales of looking at it. So you can see that which area is going to be a bit more deprived than another, and then this is just going to help you, with understanding the dynamics of an area basically better. So that's the kind of stuff you want to look at if you want to understand the dynamics of an area. Also, don't get scared, because I'm looking around my beautiful Birmingham here, and it looks like it's all shit, but it's not.
Believe Guillaume, it's not all shit.
No, I'm joking. I'm a Brummie now, so it's all good.
It's very clear from your accent how Brummie you are.
Yeah. Well, the kids will speak, sadly. But anyway, yeah. So also with these things, don't walk yourself out of deals, because it's not a green light on all your things, because the reality is that there's more crime than we thought. There's more this than that. It's not as good as we think. And if you are in a nice part of London, for example, you might expect, like you want to buy in the same kind of same kind of environment, and a lot of places it's not the reality. So it's just a different reality. So it's just understanding that things are a bit different, and then not like I've got very set rules. I won't buy in a place where the crime rate is above this and that. And it's the same thing as what we talked about with the yield. Like they're like 0.2% of whatever whatever subjective criteria. Like they've set themselves, and it's a different reality. Like other people manage to make it work and make it stack there. So take it for what it is. Just to compare one area within a town to another area. Don't compare one city with another in a way. Like it's because it's not going to work. So yeah, take it for what it is. I guess don't be too strict with these things, because ultimately all this data is nice. You'll have a good idea of where is it you want to invest. I personally think that close by, close together, identify something that works for you and meets those 1, 2, 3, 4 criteria that is described in Emma's book, and then just stick with it so you can have resources mutualized and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's really key is understanding yourself. And what I always, when people say to me, "Oh, I'm just starting out, do I need business cards? Do I need a website?" And I kind of say, well, if you can concentrate on getting business, getting properties or whatever it is, and have that running alongside, then great, carry on with it. But if and you're somebody like me, I mean, to create a website, I think, that'll get done in the next 2 weeks. And then suddenly it's like all the copy, all of this, the layout, then I need to do loads more research. And it would be 6 months down the line before it would get going. Well, that's just absolutely crackers. You don't need a business
No,
card.
it's procrastination. It's
Yeah,
procrastination.
exactly. So
And
if
I to be fair, I was guilty of that. When I was no difference to people starting out when I started out in this country a few years back. You do the business cards. You think you're not ready because you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to have the investors line. Just go out and like build the skill of doing deals. Like you shouldn't care about anything else but finding good deals. And then if you are scared of what you're going to say and what people are going to think about you, just go in the next town. Like just do 5 viewings a week, just send 10 letters a week. But compound this all the time. I've always be looking for deals. And even if you are experienced, uh, what I see most experienced people, what mistake they do and why they stall, is that they stop and go all the time. They're sourcing and they're doing projects. They're sourcing and they're doing projects. They're sourcing and they're doing projects. And really, you need to be looking for deals all the time, because otherwise you need to restart this flywheel every 6 months, every 9 months, and it's so difficult. Where the beauty with property is that you will compound your success, by the way you compound your network and the reputation you of being a property solver, property problem solver in your area, etc. All of these compounds because you are seen as being active. But then if you stop, then you are again a nobody and you need to start again. Like every 6 months. So the deals you will view, the properties you will view today, the conversations you will have today with vendors are the deals you will agree in 6 months. People want the deals right now. It's like, oh, can't I find a BMV today? Agreed today, complete on it tomorrow. It's like it's not how it works. So you need to start those conversations today. Like give them a price they don't really like today, and then just follow up every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks for the next 6-9 months. And believe me, when you are the only person following up with them for that long, they build this mental image, in their head that you are the only solution to their property problem. Yeah, and the best deals you're gonna find is not like the meeting in the middle price you agree today. It's them meeting you on your price in 6 months, in 9 months. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think again, just reiterating that, it's knowing yourself, and if all of that data is just going to be too overwhelming and is going to stop you moving forward, you don't need that data. But for some people that's really beneficial. They really want to get down, they want to understand each area and go further. So if you're somebody that will stop you, just don't look there.
Yeah.
All you actually need is the very simple, these are the properties that have got basically motivated sellers because they've either been up for sale, they're back on the market because they then fell out of bed, they may have reduced the price. So there's varying things that show that they are motivated. Obviously, you've then got to check that just because they're motivated and they reduce the price, that it's not, if it's still only worth 100,000 and it's still up for 150,000, then they might be motivated but not that motivated. So it's just great that initial information that you get with Property Filter helps you make all these decisions. So yeah, I think that's absolutely brilliant.
And again, it's exactly as you said. So it's for those people who value this kind of stuff. So personally, like funny enough, like personally, I'm looking at this the data I shown you. Like I look at it every 6 months for 2 hours, for my own stuff.
Yeah.
And it's just to stay a bit in touch with things, because I know that, because the way the system works, and you're going to motivated sellers first, like there will be a deal at the right price in every area. Like it's just a matter, you'd buy a house for £10 in the worst area of the, maybe not because it comes with lots of liability, but you know what I mean. Like there's a price where it's always going to work, and so finding the motivated sellers is just overwhelmingly outpacing the data in a way, because you become the outlier in the data, and it just works. So we build this because people ask for it, and to help a little bit with this. To have things for people to stop looking because it's there, and they then don't have to procrastinate again. Look, you've looked at it once. This is what it is. Now let's go and do some viewings. So let's go and send some letters.
Amazing. So I think is there kind of a free period? What would you advise for people? I know I've put a link on, I've got an affiliate link with these guys, so do jump on my link, but obviously you can go direct as well. So what will they do? What do you advise during that kind of free period to do?
Yeah, so basically the idea with Property Filter is we start with a free trial, so that you can, if anything, go on Property Filter, you can, like pull all the motivated sellers in your area, you can pull all the addresses of those motivated sellers in your area, send them letters if you like, organize the viewing, like do all these things, and then cancel the trial, by all means. But let us, show you the power of Property Filter, and there's 1,200. We've got 1,200 members using this up and down the country. There's no contract, so then it's a monthly subscription, and the only way we get 1,200 people and growing every month to come and stay with us is just this constant and unlimited deal flow of motivated sellers. So we need to keep on continuing, giving the value, etc. So if it sort of didn't work, we couldn't be where we are today. So and then like you can cancel anytime. It's really no risk, so you can cancel very quickly. You get lots of emails reminder during your trial, so like that. Don't worry, about this thing. So when you start your trial, you're invited to come on one of our get started calls. So we run 2 per day, and someone will give you a whistle stop tour of Property Filter, where things are, and really how to get started and how to basically book a viewing today, send a letter today. Because we're all about the execution. So they're going to make it very clear to you, like, this is the place where deals are done. So welcome, welcome to the jungle. And this is how it works. And then people work on different strategies, so you do like development, small, medium-sized development, commercial to resi, HMO, service accommodations. Like there's lots of different strategies. And again, we run 5 different calls per week, 5 times 2, basically 5 different strategies twice a week. So it's 15 hours worth of live calls where you can speak to someone, and they answer your questions. And then for the most advanced of you, we speak once a week on the Wednesday, personally with me. And then all of this, we get good value because you ask good questions, and it helps us build the best of Property Filter. So I recommend when you join is just book yourself on the first and next call. Likely there's one today, there's one tomorrow, to get someone to walk you through things, so you make the most of your trial, and then play with it. Less is more. Like, it's very easy to say, oh, I want to do all strategies in all areas of the UK, but the most successful people we see using Property Filter, they are very niche in terms of their area, and they are very niche in terms of their strategy, and they just hammer all the motivated sellers in the area, and then surprise, they're the ones with doing, like one deal a month, one deal every 2 weeks, etc. So
amazing. Well, look, thank you so much, Guillaume. That's been absolutely fantastic. Every time I talk to you or go onto Property Filter, I learn something new. It really is tremendous. But equally, it's extremely easy to use. So I think that, is a real testament to you guys and getting the feedback from everyone to make it, really usable for so many people. So thank you so much. So we'll be back again next week on Monday. And next week, I've got Suzanne Smith, and she's becoming quite a name in writing all about being a landlord. She's her blog is hugely successful. She's got lots of followers. So I'm really looking forward to seeing her. And also tomorrow, if you're needing a little bit of a mindset update, push, whatever it might be, I'm meeting with Lee Rubeck tomorrow at 11:30. So we'll be advertising that as well. And that is great, because without a great mindset, you're not going to get very far, even with all the details. So even with Property Filter, if you're going in with completely the wrong mindset, those are the kind of things that it's not going to work. If it works for hundreds and, nearly thousands of other people, and it's not working for you, you might want to be internalizing and looking at yourself. So yeah, do come and join me tomorrow at 11:30 with Lee as well. So yeah, thank you so much, Guillaume. Really, really appreciate your time, and also what you're doing for the industry. It really is a game changer, and we really appreciate that.
Thanks so much, Emma.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for